So before we jump into this, give me some other things that are going on. I'm so excited to see everybody. Can you believe it's the end of the year? Crazy. Y'all are quiet.
I was just gonna say, after coming back from business planning with my team in Missouri, man, 25 is gonna be amazing. I'm excited.
So why don't you just tell everybody quickly what you did, because it was a huge success, Pam. Super proud of you, how you put this together.
It was a huge success. It was really stressful. For those of you who may not know what we're even talking about, I just signed on a small team under me back in Missouri, where I'm from. I'm now in Texas. So I wanted to really get them off to a good start. She's got several newer agents. And so I'm a very spur of the moment person. And I'm like, we've got to get your people set up for 2025. We have to get a plan in place and get them started off on the right foot. So in what, Peggy, 4 or 5 days, we put together a full day clinic. We started our morning off. Peggy was gracious enough to jump on Zoom with us, and she spent about an hour and a half with us, really working on, getting past your limiting beliefs and getting in the right mindset. And I mean, even with her on Zoom, Peggy even was saying, like, you could feel the excitement and the energy in the
Yeah.
room by the time she was done with us. So then moving from that into, let's get on this spreadsheet and let's actually play, which, if you're on here, Gary, thank you for providing that for our team. Like, that is such a powerful tool. Um, anyway, just coming off that excitement and truly getting down to where you are envisioning what you really want next year to look like. By the time we're in December of next year, what do you want to be sitting there reflecting on, and what are your victories and your successes? And then moving from that into, okay, let's put this on paper. What do I have to do every day to make that happen? And it was just so powerful, and just seeing the shift in their thinking, and you could see the excitement that was going on, and just, hey, it's going to take me some hard work, but this is possible, when you break it down to a daily thing. And then we had some lunch, some great conversation, and just getting to know one another better, and spent the rest of the afternoon in my suite just learning some of the tools that EXP has to offer, and how to utilize them. And I'm so proud because afterwards, the next day was yesterday, I was traveling home and I challenged them. I said, don't let yesterday's momentum be for nothing. I said, take action now today. So I challenged them all. I said, my challenge to you is that all of you get registered today for the Fast Cap program, and then let me know once you do. And two of them are waiting till January to even start real estate school. I said, you're not off the hook. I said, you guys get registered, get enrolled for your school today. And so far, I know one of them for sure is already registered for Fast Cap, and two of them are enrolled in real estate school, and I couldn't be more proud of them. So, it can happen. You should probably plan ahead a little more than I did, but it turned out so perfectly. And the conversations were so organic. I think because I didn't have the time to have every little thing, planned down to every word I was going to say. And it really was a good day. So, don't be afraid to just make it happen. If you need a partner in crime, Peggy and I have figured out that we can throw something together. So just reach out to us.
So I just want to say, Pam, you did an excellent job. And you could see in the beginning when you watch body language, people are kind of sitting around the table and not really knowing what to expect. And by the end of it, the energy totally shifted. And, it was great to see the transformation going through. So, yeah, congratulations, Pam. It was really great.
Oh,
Let's see
Peggy,
you.
wait, I think, is that our Amanda Gay, or is that you on here? I invited him to join us, and I saw an Amanda.
I don't know. I can't
Oh,
see.
maybe she disappeared. No, I can't
Oh,
find her.
yep, it's me.
Oh,
Hi,
there you are. Yay.
Hi.
So
great. We're so glad you're here.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Anybody else here for the very first time? Anybody have guests that they'd like to introduce?
I do. I have Peggy Earnhardt is here from near Corsicana, Texas,
Great.
and she's looking to join EXP, and I wanted her to get on what we do every week with our masterminds. So welcome, Peggy.
Hi, Peggy. Nice to meet you. We're a good group here. Definitely a good group. Okay. So we've got a lot to cover today. And I am just like, you know how someone just comes into your life and it's totally unexpected and you don't know, you're like, okay, who is this person? Who's all this high energy? Well, I am so super excited to introduce to you Yisbel, who I met in Florida. I was hosting a Top Golf um, networking event down in Florida about 2 months ago. And we met, and so far we've done 2 podcasts together. I've trained in her office, and her excitement in what she's created is truly amazing. I don't know if you had a chance to look at her bio that we posted with the invite to this, but she has a background that will just absolutely blow your mind. And not only is she running a team, she is a top agent in Florida. She is in the Cape Coral area where I was from. I'm just looking at my notes real quick. From Santo Domingo to Cape Coral. She spent 20 years breaking barriers and building dreams. She's the founder of her group, which is the Kingdom Group, Thrive Transactions. She coached. She's in the top 1%, guys, of EXP. Now, come on. I think everybody definitely give her applause on that. She is a top 200 honoree. She's an investor. She's a mentor. She's also certified in John Maxwell. And what got us started with is one of my favorite all-time books. And Pam actually gave this to her group that she did the retreat for the other day, was a book called Failing Forward. And John Maxwell's book, Failing Forward, literally changed my life. You know, I no longer was I wish I had this in grade school. I think every teacher from the time you're in kindergarten, every single year, this should be a requirement for our educational system to teach this book, because failure is not that big F with a circle in red that we all feared in school. So I don't want to take away from this. I'm super excited to have her on the call. Guys, please welcome Isabel, and just her energy is going to blow you away, and she brings so much. So thanks, beautiful, for being on this call today.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Peggy. Thank you for that amazing introduction. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you to your network and the audience. I'm looking forward to add a tons of value. Today is not about me, but it's about you. And we are going to talk about Failing Forward, that amazing book that Peggy and me, we were talking about and talking about this day. So I'm super excited to share one of the most important part in the book. I mean, everything is amazing on the book. And as a John Maxwell certified coach, I'm excited to go over a few things, especially is the end of the year. This is a great time for you to analyze the things that you didn't do that great. And that's awesome. Great for you, because success doesn't come without failure at all. We have to, since we came to this earth, since we were born, before we start even walking, we start falling, right? So we don't learn just because of yes, without having mistakes and falling. I have 3 kids and I keep telling them, don't worry, you got this. So we have to see mistakes failing in a positive way. So everyone can see my screen. If you can put the thumbs up, I'm gonna go over this amazing book, and for you to analyze yourself, what is it that you've done this year? And what areas of improvement? I always love to call it improvement area because there's always something great to do better. Now, a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. So every time we fall is a stepping stone that you're building. So we must embrace failure to achieve success. So why this book, huh? Why? So failure is something that we cannot avoid, but we have to handle it and we must face it to define our success. So what is the purpose? To teach readers why you should read this book. Is for you to redefine failure, embrace it, and use it as a tool for growth and achievement. Now, what's the core message? Again, failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of it. How many of you agree that in order for us to be where we are, we must have some failure on the way? We must. I remember when I came to this country 20 years ago, I was facing language barriers. Even though I was full bilingual, it was completely different because here we speak kind of like a broken English, and it was hard for me to get used to. But I embrace it. I just start listening to TV shows and stuff so I can get used to my ear until I get it, until I get it. So success is achieved by learning from and moving beyond setbacks. And if you want to say something, just unmute yourself. I don't, whatever if you have a question, if you have a comment, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and do it. So you must make a shift from fear of failure to growth from failure. So this is something that we must have very clear. Failure is a good thing, okay? Failure is something that we must embrace every single day. Now, there's a few things that I want you to redefine. Whatever is the mindset that you have about failure, but failure is not final. Failure is a stepping stone. I remember when I got my real estate license, the first trial, I missed by 1 point. I failed by 1 point. I didn't stay there. It wasn't final. I retake the test, and guess what? I passed it the second time. So again, we must, whatever it is that you fail, try it again. Is it your passion? Is it your calling? Is it your purpose? How bad you want it? Okay, so view failure as a learning opportunity. Own your mistakes to grow and improve. You must overcome fear to failure because it's a great thing. It is a great thing. You must build resilience instead of being afraid. I'm not afraid to share my mistakes and failure. In fact, I love to share them because I believe on the power of testimony. Everyone learns from everybody's mistake, and I believe that we won't live enough to live our own mistake and everybody's mistakes. So that's why reading a book, listening to the podcast is great. Now, there's a few lessons from the book. We must learn from every setback. Reflect on failures to often uncover the lessons because there's a huge lesson, there's a huge learning. If we don't make a mistake, we won't be able to find out what is it that I need to get better at it? What is it that I need to do to avoid that to happen again? I remember when I did my first sales in real estate, I wasn't sure how to because I didn't have a mentor or a coach when I start in business. And that's why it's important. I encourage every agent, you must have a coach, you must have a mentor because it's easier. They are able to see on your behalf things that you are able to see. So I was like, okay. And so I made a mistake on the contract. And so the buyer that I was representing at that time was about to lose the escrow deposit because I didn't know about timelines and the inspection period and things like that. And so I learned from it. And from there, I organized myself because nobody told me, okay, now I need to write things down. Now I need to have clear. And how did I get so great? How did I get a top 1% icon agent 3 times in a row? It wasn't overnight. It was because of failure. It was because of mistakes. So failure is a great thing. Progress requires courage to risk failure. Bounce back is stronger after each setback. I bet you every time you fell, I bet you came back stronger. Shift your goal from avoiding failure to achieving. Make sure that you must embrace your mistakes, because then you're going to become better, stronger, and you're gonna see improvement in the way you think, in the way you take actions, and the way you delegate, and the way you talk, and that's how we become professionals. There's a few practical steps to fail forward, because there's a lot of people that take failure as a bad thing, and instead of moving forward, what they do, they go back. It shouldn't be that way. So we must redefine our goals. Focus on learning, not perfection. I love Tony Robbins when he says, complicity is the enemy of execution. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Just do it. One day at a time, one step at a time. Own your mistakes. Take responsibilities without excuses. Oh, I did that because I thought, no, just embrace them. Take ownership. Yes, I made a mistake and I'm gonna get better. Apologize if you have to apologize. Reframe setbacks. Ask, what can I learn from this? What did I did wrong? How can I replace that action, that decision, that way of talk, that way of thinking, that way of proceeding for something greater and better? Develop a growth mindset. Celebrate progress over perfection. Today, you need to clap for yourself. We overcome the the worst year in the last 35 years, according with the economists in sales, even worse than 2008. So you still alive, you still here, clap. Even though you didn't do the numbers you want to do, is again, progress over perfection. Oh, I didn't make the numbers I want to make, but just celebrate. Celebrate every day. Celebrate every day. Take risk. Don't let the fear stop you from trying. Just try it. Just do it. I remember my very first time doing my speech in front of an audience of about 100 people. I was very nervous. If I say, oh no, you know what, I think you should pick somebody else, but no, that's how I start growing. That's how I start developing my communication and skills. And I hear myself after I'm done, and okay, this is what I have to do better. This is what I have to switch, replace. There's a few examples that I can share with you that I'm pretty sure you know some of them. But Thomas Edison, he invented the light bulb, but he failed over 1,000 times. Imagine what would happen if he would just stop when he failed once. But he invented something amazing that impact the entire world. You're just one step away from the next impact that you can do to thousands with your great idea, with your amazing platform, software, whatever it is that you're working on, just do it. One day at a time, just jump in. Don't be afraid. I always say fear is a liar. So Oprah Winfrey overcame early career setbacks to build a media empire. There's so many great stories that, I don't want to focus on too many of them, but your own story, you have a story too. The difference between average people and achieving people is their perception of and respond to failure. How do you respond to failure? Is it something negative for you? If it is, it's time to switch. It's actually something good because it means you're growing. In my house, I have 3 kids, and we have this thing that, okay, no bullies in this house. Sometimes you know how siblings bully each other. No bullying in this house. No allowed. That this is not allowed. So we need to embrace failure here. It's okay to make mistakes. So my kids come to me, hey, sometimes they're kind of afraid to say something, and I go, no, it's okay. You can tell me. So if you're a mom, or if you're a dad, our school system is I would say that it needs to change. I'm not saying that every school is the same, but most of the school is just punish failure. And again, it's not about celebrating something wrong, but to do it different way. So that the student, that the kid, the boy, the girl doesn't paralyze, because where did the fear start? That's something that we must do. You must identify, where did it start? It was when you were 5, 6, maybe your father, your mother didn't know how to handle your failure, and probably you grew up that way, and they point at you and scream at you. That's it's okay. Forgive them and let it go, but just identify, where did it start. There's a powerful result when you identify, where did it start. Go back to that place. Go back and tell to yourself, hey, little girl, it's okay to make mistake. Hey, teenager, hey, youth, it's okay. Don't worry, I got you. Just go back and tell to yourself, it is okay. Just keep moving. I'm so proud of you. Write a letter to yourself. What is it that you're telling to yourself? What is the news story that you're telling to 2025? You're going to make mistake next year. I am going to make mistake. Even though we are the top 200 Latino agents in the United States, that doesn't mean I'm not going to make mistake. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. So we are all going to make mistakes. Just be ready for the next trip, for the next chapter, 2025. Embrace failure. Take action. Do not let the fear stop you, because again, you are just one step away from the next level in your life, in your career, in your family. You can make an impact today in anybody's life. Now, who should read this book? I would say everyone. And what I think, like Peggy said, I think they should put this at school, because the kids are so afraid to make mistakes. And I speak with my kids every single day. Hey, I don't love you because of what you do. I love you just because of who you are. It's important, your achievement. It's important that you work hard. Don't take me wrong, but hey, I just love you just the way you are. And sometimes we grow, and sometimes we want to achieve things just to prove somebody else. And we tend to forget about ourselves, and we tend to forget about what really makes us fulfill, happy. And so what is it that you're doing that for? Is it just for you, or are you trying to prove somebody wrong? So that's something that you really want to define your 7 levels why, because once you define your 7 levels why, so why do I do this? For freedom. Why freedom is important? Because I want to build a legacy. Why is important to build a legacy? And you dig 7 levels why. And I learned this from Dean Graziosi, a great mentor. I'm part of his mentorship group. He's amazing. And so, because once you define that, you are going to become unstoppable. The no's, the failure, it doesn't matter, because you have your clear why. You have a clear goal. So again, individuals struggling with setbacks in their personal or professional life should read this book. Leaders, entrepreneurs, student, anyone looking to embrace growth and a different mindset. failure is not a bad idea. It's not a bad thing. It's a detour to success. By failing forward, you can turn mistake into opportunities for growth, resilience, and achievement. So I want a call to action today is that embrace your failures. What is it looks like? Reflect on them. What do you learn from it? How are you going to move forward? Because every mistake, we should be having an action plan. Okay, this is what happened. So what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to stay, I'm done? No, you should have an action plan. What is that education and training looks like? Not to make that mistake again. What is your circle of influence? What is the top 5 people looks like? Because the people that you surround yourself make a huge impact and difference in the way we speak and the way what we proceed. So analyze all that. This is huge. I mean, I can spend a lot talking about reflection, action plan, and moving forward. I want to leave you with those 3 things. And again, failure is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Since we were born, we're failing. That's how we start walking. That's how we start running. So just keep going, just keep moving forward. And thank you so much for listening. I'm open for question and answer and discussions.
So Isabel, thank you so much. You summarized this up. And when you and I talked about that, we found that this was like our go-to book. Excuse me. You know, I wanted to just, you talked about a lot of things that we talk about on this group all the time. We talk about mindset. One of the things when I was working with Pam's group this week, I had them write down people, their 5 closest people in their group, in their organization, or who they hang out with. And then we actually rated them. Are they bringing you up? Are they bringing you down? So when you fail, are those people like secretly cheering you on to fail? When you're at the top, when you're in the top 1%, or you're top in your office, or your kid is one of the most, gifted athletes on the team, how is everybody else around reacting to that? Not everybody wants us to succeed. And that's an interesting concept when you really, really look at that. So when you understand failure, and you talked about how John Maxwell defines failure. Failure is an event. It's not a person. It's a part of the process of success. So I kind of wanted to open it up to the group with some questions, if that's okay with everybody. So what do you think the biggest barrier to overcoming failure is, you guys? This is part of the
I
open.
think, Peggy,
Hey, Tucker.
how are you?
I'm great.
I thank you so much for sharing that with us all. And I completely agree that it should be required reading in grade school. But I also feel that it's like the flip of a coin. For every action, there is a reaction, and we need to celebrate our wins too. I think that winning is much like muscle memory. I think once you start winning, you remember the euphoria that you received, and you want to do it again. You can't win without failing. You don't. Michael Johnson did not win the 100-yard dash the first time he went out, but he kept after it. And today, every single Olympian runs faster than Michael Johnson, or whatever his name was, the famous 100-yard sprinter.
Carl Lewis.
No, it was after
Usain
Carl.
Usain Bolt.
Pardon me?
Usain Bolt, the guy from Jamaica?
No, I was thinking about the guy from actually Dallas, Texas.
We'll figure it out. But
Yeah.
what you're saying, Tucker, is so true.
Right. But what I'm saying is that you're right. You learn from failures, but you also have to learn from your successes. And
Yeah.
you know, the key is repeat the pattern that got you to where you are.
So, Isabel, you came to this country 20 years ago with a lot of challenges and even a language barrier. So, what do you think separated you from probably a lot of other people who have migrated, immigrated into our country? What was it that kept you going? Because I don't think you knew about this book back then. So you kind of had instinctively in you.
Yeah, well, I would tell you that's a great question. And I would tell you is that I have very clear where I want to go. If you don't know where you want to go, it's hard to get there. I knew what I was. I was broke. I was living check to check. I was an employee. And I knew where I wanted to go. I didn't want to live an average life because I came from an entrepreneurship home. My father in my country used to have multiple businesses, and I knew I didn't want to work for somebody else. I knew what I was heading. I knew what I was going, and I was tired. You must feel pain. I felt pain. I was tired. I know where I want to go. I remember my very first car when I came to this country was Mitsubishi Galant. I got a broken radiator. I didn't have money to fix it, and I have to stop every 2 miles to put water. I got water on the vehicle, and I stopped every 2 miles because I didn't have money to fix it. I was in pain. I was tired. Are you comfortable where you are today? I was not comfortable. So the pain, in order for you to change, to switch from one place to another, you must feel pain. There's transformation in pain. I define my goal. I define my action plan. I define who I want to be, surround myself. And I always, since a very young age, always have friends older than me. Always. I was that teenager that talked with the 21 years old when I was 15 and 16. So who are you surrounding yourself? Who did I surround myself back in that day made a difference. Knowing what I was going, feeling pain, and identify the things that needs to be done. Because in order for me to go to point A to point B, you need to know what needs to be taken in order to get to the other side. If you don't know where you're going, forget it. You're not going to make it. I knew where I was going. I knew I want to become an entrepreneur. And so my very first year as a licensee real estate agent, I break records. I sold 20 homes as a brand new agent because I was hungry. I wanted to serve. I over deliver. So that's definitely one of the things that happened to me when I came.
Congratulations.
When I hear you talk about that, I hear you talk about how instead of running from, you ran to adaptability. You had to adapt at such a very high level. You had to overcome so many things, but you were determined. Like you said, you had an entrepreneur spirit. You kept running into failure versus running away from it. You knew that there were going to be some life lessons. So the other thing I wanted to ask people, because we do a lot of mindset here, and so I want to open this up to the group. This is where you all kind of participate. I have to kind of coach them on this sometimes. So what are some of the limiting beliefs, you guys, that are holding you back for achieving where you're going? Who wants to share with us what you were thinking about?
Peggy, I'll go. I gotta say, Gisbert, it's so awesome to see you here. Felicidades. Congratulations on everything. I have to say that Gisbert, her story is amazing. You know, we all think that we have it bad. We all think one day we're having a crappy, shitty day. And then we hear a story like Yisbel that came from a different country, language barrier. It doesn't matter if it's Santo Domingo, it could be any other country with language barriers. I see people coming here brand new into this country and do amazing things. And then, but the rest of us, that don't achieve as much in that amount of speed because it seems overnight is better, right? But it took years. But to us, it seems like, wow, she came here, she did this, she did that. She had no excuses. It seems like you just went past the noise, past the excuses, and said, I have no excuse. I'm in this country where I've been offered opportunities, and I'm going to grab each and one of these opportunities. And you did that. And that's amazing. I say that a lot of us use excuses. It could be something that we're going through or whatever, or blame other people for where we are instead of owning it and having no excuses and going forward. I have to congratulate you on your story, Yusbet. I met you thankfully over at EXP Con. We sat together and it was that little moment of electricity we had, but I really loved your story. Thank you for sharing it. This just goes to show we have no excuses, guys. We can figure everything out from a broken freaking radiator to
Love
if
it.
you have to push that car to the next block because it broke down, shift it on normal, on what is it, neutral, and push it. You know, I really love your story and thank you for being here today, Peggy. Thank you for bringing Yusbel on today. And no excuses, guys. This is an amazing story. I myself took it like, I have no excuse. I have really no excuse. I have to move forward past that fear. And fear is a liar. You're right, Yisbel. I love that. I'm going to use it over and over again. It is a huge liar. We got to get past this. What a great way to start our week and go into 2025 with this here today. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Thank
See,
you so much.
you you nailed it. Thank you for saying that because we've been talking about when I wanted to have her on as a guest. And I said to her, let's do it right before our last Wake Up Wednesday so we can recognize we're not failing. We're moving forward. Like she said, it's one of the worst years that we've seen. But everyone that shows up on this group and all the other groups that we have at our company, we're the ones pushing. We're not the ones in bed right now. We're not the ones with the covers over our head. We're saying, let's do this. There's some brand new agents on this call who are just getting licensed. Ron's on the call. He's, taking a break from real estate. He was a broker, owned his own company. He's jumping back in. So we can have the excuse that it's a crappy market, or we can look at this and say, man, this is a freaking opportunity right now. And I'm going to embrace it. So when we look at this and we get excited, because we do get excited, we get off these calls and then we go, oh, because we're alone. Because we don't have the people in our groups are not having the conversations that we're having. And we get discouraged. What should you do at that point? What can we do? Sarah, I'm going to call on you because you are one of my biggest. I just love you. That's all. She's my sister from another mother somewhere. And Sarah, you're in a leadership role and you have a huge leadership role in your Kentucky board. And I know that being a leader and taking the role on that you do, you have to show up being positive. Mm-hmm. Now I know not everything is, right? We've shared,
Very true.
How do you handle that? And what suggestions can you give to the people on the group that get discouraged and say, well, that failure thing is great, but man, they don't get me. They don't understand where I am right now.
Right. Okay. So number one, I made a decision a long time ago that I was going to be happy. My face was going to smile. My light was going to shine. I was going to attract people and not repel people. I was dating this guy back in college, and I'm not a morning person, guys. I'm going to tell you right now, I am not a morning person. And he picked me up from my house one day, and I was just kind of grumbling about, I think something was going on in my parents' house, and they were making a lot of noise and woke me up. And he just kind of called me out on it. He said, Sarah, he said, you're always mad. something to that effect. And I thought, okay, all right. Reflected on it, and I found value in it, and I made a decision right then. I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be a pleasant person. I'm going to be somebody that when I walk into the room, people don't run away from because I'm Debbie Downer. Number two, you have to always, always be in gratitude. Gosh, we're so blessed. You know, I do little mind things. I'm 61 years old. My body is not as young and supple as it used to be. I fight all the hormonal challenges, breast cancer survivor. That's got its whole other things, you know. But I'll do simple things like when I put lotion on my legs, I thank God for my legs that they still work. When I have a challenge, you know, for example, I had a seller, the buyer was unable to get their loan. I vetted the buyer's agent, knew the lender, didn't have any doubt that this was going to close. And the lender, somebody found something that didn't work. I told my seller, you know what, that's okay. We're going to put more money in your pocket. This isn't the house for them, but we're going to find the next buyer. We're going to put more money in your pocket. So when I come across as this is going to be a good thing, my sellers will typically follow suit. They trust me, you know. So I think those are the three things that you have to do. You have to, it all starts from the top, just like Peggy. When she gets on the call, is she, you know, down in the mouth? No, she's smiling, she's thankful. And guys, that's what it starts with. And I'm a very deeply spirit faith-filled person.
You are.
And I attribute all of my success to God's plan, not my plan, but God's plan. So if I was going to change anything, or tell a new agent anything, I would just say, listen, deals aren't going to go like you want. Your best friend's going to use a different agent. Somebody's going to say something and hurt your feelings. Acknowledge it, accept it, move on, and look for the next person that you need to help. And one last thing, back when I was in the midst of it, and gosh, this was before the pandemic when business was, you know, I was still growing my business. I would get up every morning, and as I made my bed, I would say, okay, God, who am I helping today? Just put it, I said it out loud, put it out there every day. Who am I helping? So it's when you put it into the universe and you get your mindset right. And this doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice and repetition. But then the universe starts to show you all of the good things that are happening, all of the people that you're helping, whether it's a kind word to the person at the drive-thru that hates their job, but you give them a big old smile when they hand you your food and you're like, man, I hope you have a great day. Little things like that. Just be the light. God will flood you with deals when you look to serve people. And that's my secret sauce.
You know, that is so amazing. And I can attest, because I've stayed at Sarah's house quite a few times out in Kentucky. She wakes up like this, guys. I mean, in the morning, she's a little, but even early in the morning, Sarah, you're smiling. It's when you can see, I know how we show up here and we love to put our best foot forward and everything, but it really is, are you walking the talk? Are you actually showing up, saying what you're doing? Because if you're not, if you get off these calls, the only person that you really are failing is yourself. And it starts with your mindset. And
Absolutely.
you know, Isabel, you came to this country, if you said, oh, I can't, I love the fact that you said, I've heard this a few times when people are trying to learn a second language, they watch TV. They watch TV to learn how to learn our language. And you found a way. You were not going to let a language barrier overcome anything. You're a top agent. You turn everything into a teachable moment. And we have a lot of leaders and coaches on here. And Don, I see that you just popped on. Good morning. Don and I just spent some great time in Dallas last week. Don, how can you, or how do you talk about teachable moments when you failed and you're feeling down? You've been doing this a real long time. Back in the 80s, you started Hobbs Herder, which was the first marketing company, that's when you and I met. And people must have said to you, you're crazy. It's not about the agent, it's about the company. And I don't want you out there teaching agents to build their brand. How did you keep going?
You know, it's interesting. Thanks, first of all, Peggy. One thing that was interesting about that, it's actually worse than we were crazy. I comment now, and I don't think I would have said this at the time, but we were, as far as the franchises were concerned, pretty much the Antichrist, because we were the exact opposite of what the franchises wanted agents to think, which is you wore a gold coat or you wore a red coat or you wore a powder blue coat if you were ERA or whatever, that you were joining a company and that was the brand. I think the biggest thing that we knew is that we were starting something. We were at the forefront of something and we could feel it because the agents were loving it. So to be honest with you, we had a lot of positive reinforcement. Negative was from leadership. And we sort of made up our mind that we were really not about worrying about what they thought. We were more interested in helping people get where they could get. And we were focused on, you know, really moving people forward, which is ultimately, and you know, we dealt with people in your company and all of that became the biggest agents in the world. And we literally were focused on that. And eventually it kind of watered the push from the companies down because they had to realize the agents are going this direction. They're loving these guys and we're going to have to give in and let them do it. And that's what ended up happening for us. We did it from there. But I'll tell you that, you know, again, the negativity, or if you will, the challenge, that wasn't the only challenge. I mean, there's challenges of business. There's challenges. I remember I was showing up to my office one day in probably 93. I think you guys were going through a big downturn around 93. We showed up at our office and the sheriffs had locked the doors. They chained our doors closed so we didn't make rent. And, you know, it's like, how do you recover from that? Like, how embarrassing. Our employees are coming to work and we can't get into our office. And, you know, it's like there's been so many times when shit went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, for me, it's like Sarah said, I've always been that person who sees the possibilities and then also looks for the solution that I can fix quickly. And that's, you know, how do I jump in and make something happen? And that was kind of my thing. Greg Herder, you know, Greg, you know, he was always like, you're the white horse, you're the guy on the white horse that goes and fixes stuff. You're like the one that goes out and makes shit happen. And that's been my approach since I left Jim Rohn's company. It's like just, you know, Jim was my positive reinforcement. He was the guy that said, for things to change, you've got to change. It isn't about anything that's happening out there. It's not what happens, it's what you do with what happens. And I think that we have to always remember shit happens. I mean, there's bumper stickers on that one, right? There's like, it just happens. And that's not the issue because every one of us, you know, it's raining outside. What's the choice you're going to make? Well, it's raining outside. It's kind of cold. I'm not going to go out. Somebody else goes, wow, what a perfect time to find everybody home. I think I'll go out and knock doors. I mean, it's like, it's a different choice point, same circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And we're making choice after choice after choice after choice. And we think it's maybe big choices, like literally every moment is, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? Is this the right thing for me to be doing? Is this the best place for me to be is this the best thing for me to be acting on? It's constant choice. We live in the land of the free, and yet most of us are stuck in patterns and behaviors that don't get us where we want to go because it's this is the societal norm. It's normal to be pissed off, Sarah. It's not normal to be happy all the time. It's normal to watch TV and see the reinforcement of, you know, in the old days it was Archie Bunker and you know that crabby life. And today, what is the show that I just heard the other day? And they're like, it's a great show. It's amazing, but these people never ever get out of it. Like they're always in it. That's not called Amazing. What's it called anyway? There's a show and somebody's talking about it. I'm like, why would anybody watch that? Why would you reinforce that life when you have choice of your own? And by the way, while they're making their fortune acting, you're watching it and going broke. So, you know, let's talk about that part, right? So anyway, I'm not sure if I answered your question. I got a little tangential there with my random thoughts, but
No, you did, Don. It's great. We love to hear from you. Sarah, you have your hand up.
One
Thank you.
last thing. Yes, you make a decision, but you've got to feed it. And Don, when you talk about Jim Rohn, oh my gosh, that takes me way back to Zig. Remember the Success magazine, and every month they'd have that CD in the magazine. I couldn't wait to get that CD and listen to that in my car. So I was always putting all the good stuff in my head. And if you find that you're dwelling on the negative, you got to quit feeding the negative. You got to feed the positive. Go back to the classics. Oh my gosh, Jim Rohn. Wow, what a difference he made. I still hear him and Zig in my head all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sarah, I will tell you, I laughed the other day and I was saying to somebody, when we took Success Magazine on, I ended up being the president for that year and a half or whatever it was. And we owned all of Jim Rohn's stuff. We do. Our company, we all own Jim Rohn's intellectual property. So you may not know that, but we've got that gift. And of course, some of it was as old as we recorded it in my era when I was his president. So that's how classic it is. But I'll tell you something. When you start looking at people like that, and Zig Ziglar and Norman Vincent Peale, and some of the people that were those early days, but Tony Robbins and I used to literally every month, we were like you, we'd be waiting for that magazine to show up. We didn't have 58 books being written every single month by somebody who, is a wannabe, it was like very few things you could read. But I want to reinforce that because we get Success Magazine. This freaking company owns Success Magazine, and I'll bet there's many of you that don't crack it open. I'll bet we take that for granted.
Isn't that a shame? It is.
It's
absolutely wonderful to receive that every other month.
We get that. We get that for free.
There you go.
Right?
There's
Leo right on
cover.
Leo right on the front cover, right? I love that.
Yeah. I just want
just for you guys to think, right? We have resources. We have things at our fingertips. This meeting on Wednesdays, why would there not be 300 people here?
I don't know.
Jim Rohn used to call it mysteries of the mind. Who knows? Don't understand it.
Isabel, jump in.
Yeah, I just want to jump really quick that sometimes we want to stay in a comfortable zone, right? And I remember when I used to work for the state of Florida, that the job working for the state, great benefits, but the pays are not very well. And so I was very comfortable. And from there, I jumped into opening my own business. And I was afraid to quit my job at the state. As soon as I made that decision, then great things start happening. And so I not only opened one business, but now I own 3 different businesses, impact 25 plus agents and impact 150 plus families throughout my real estate career. So what is that decision that you have to make because you are afraid you're not making? And imagine if I just stay in the state of Florida, but no way. And nothing is secure in life, nothing.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. If I can chime in a little bit.
Yes.
Thank you, Peggy. Another outstanding fellow EXP agent. Top 20. Wow. Congratulations. And thanks, Don and Sarah, for your testimony. Just on Monday, I came across, I attend a group called Full Gospel Businessman Ministry. We have been doing this for 30 years in LA. This one key guy, one of the top leader. If you drive from Los Angeles to the East Coast, 10 freeway, about 10 miles, you see a big old tall building called YK America. This gentleman built built more community in different places all over California. He said, Watson, I'd like you to list my home. A $4 million plus home. I was so excited, looking forward to that. Now, when you see this guy, he has been on TV, he met with mayor, he had whole prayer breakfast, do different things. If you were to know, this guy is called David Liu. He is a guy who has gone through so much. He went to South America, back and back. You saw the big building. You had no idea the past 40, 50, 60 years, what he gone through. So many failure, one failure after another. Now he's got a monument to show. We want to be the top agent. We want to be like, have a fancy, expensive car, the biggest company, biggest organization. But so many people who do that, they have to become failure before. I know it looks like I'm the only Chinese here. This is a real profound Chinese word, if you remember this. It's a failure is the mother. No, I'm so sorry. Success is oh, no, wait. Success, no, failure is a mother of success, meaning that before you can be born, mom has to come along first. Mom has to be born, mom has to be raised, mom has gone through his life and get pregnant before you come along. We want a big car. A lot of times we try to skip, to jump on it before we, you get whatever you want. So just be encouraged. One more point, Isabel, you talk about Thomas Edison. There's a very inspiring story. We are going to go back to review the story. All freaking day, they tried to build some light bulb, I mean, everything was so dark. They're going to use kerosene, people living by the ocean, they kill whales to get some light, to see things at night. And when they found out, everybody got so excited and said, oh, gee, that's all we need to do. No more invention needed, just the light. Just take care of all our life. But before you know, Thomas Edison said, well, wait a minute, I can warm up some water. Oh, I can do some ironing. And before you know it, oh, I can invent radio. Oh my gosh, TV. All this comes from electricity. Now, we all work so hard. We try to get to some place. But through our failure, we're going to be succeeding. We're not going to just get light only. We're going to get some TV going. We're going to heat up our home. I mean, we're going to cook our meal. We're going to have TV. We're going to have all kind of invention coming after that. So I be encouraged, guys. We're going to fail more, but we're going to succeed big, big time. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, that was great. I've never seen you I've seen you pumped before, Watson, but man, you are on fire this morning.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you. Well, we got a couple minutes. This hour went by really fast. We have a couple minutes left. Isabel, what would you like to close with? Because, you were our guest speaker today, and I'm just so super excited. Can I do a plug for you? Or I'm going to have you do the plug. Talk about your podcast. I've been blessed to be on her podcast twice already. Tell everybody how they can find your podcast and follow you.
Yeah, so my podcast is Rise and Thrive with a Purpose, and you can find it in Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere, iTunes as well. And it's basically open conversations with top leaders that been failing forward again, because again, in order to rise and thrive, we must fail. Yes, I encourage everyone to look it up, and it's been an amazing year with the podcast, which is this year when I open it. Yeah.
Anything's possible, right? Anything is absolutely possible. The other thing that I want to let everybody know is that we have been working really hard the past week and a half. We've got a YouTube channel for Wake Up Wednesday. It's all going to be, every single episode is being uploaded. I will put that in the chat real quick when it's completed. You also, when you go on Jean's site now, when you go to jeanfrederick.com, you can actually register to get on Wake Up Wednesday. We are going to have a meeting next week, and I invite everyone. This doesn't have to be a one-time thing, guys. If you're on here for the first time, come back. Let's get this community growing. The momentum is amazing. And next week, it's going to be kind of like an open topic, a year in review. Does anybody have anything that they really want to say, share with us, a big takeaway from this?
I think the most important thing from this whole Wake Up Wednesday is that the people in front of the room that have the best stories are the winners. Learn to recount your story, whatever story that is.
That's a great, great, great way to sum this up.
Yeah.
I got one.
Go ahead, Don.
That right along with what reading gave us, and that is vulnerability is our greatest strength.
Absolutely. You have to be vulnerable.
We come from that place. That's relatable. What's not relatable is perfection.
Right.
I love that. And what I would say to everyone is that just because you think your story isn't good enough, that's your mindset. You have no idea how your story can impact somebody else.
Totally.
That's why I love this forum, because anybody can talk about anything, and so much has come from this. And I'm just gonna, Nikki's not on today, but she started saying in this that she was going to be on stage. Well, guess what? At the beginning of the year, she told everybody that she was going to be on stage and overcome her fear. She was on stage at EXPCon. Talk about it. Talk to your family about it. Get this book, order it, and have this conversation with your kids, your family. I just love this book. Love it, love it, love it. You guys are the best. It's 7:01. I hate saying goodbye, but kind of got to go. Isabel, I will see you in January. I'm back on the 9th. We'll set up another training, maybe do another podcast together. Everybody, thank you for today. If we had new people coming on, thank you so much. Come back. And we will see everybody to close out next year, next Wednesday. Thank you, thank you,
Great
thank
job, Peggy. Thank
Great
you,
job.
Isabel.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
Isabel.
you. Thank you so much.
Let's go out and fail.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Love
Peggy.
you guys. Bye, guys.
Hi, Sevilla.
Dee Dee.
Some people were quiet today. Sammy, you were quiet. I didn't hear.
I did
Need
raise
the
my
coffee.
hand.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry. I couldn't see. I didn't have Ashley on helping today. I apologize. What did you want to
no.
talk about?
No, I was just saying your mind doesn't know the difference between positive and negative. If you focus on negative, you're going to get negative. If you focus on positive, you're going to do positive. So that's all.
That's
I put
right.
it in the chat. No problem.
Oh, you did.
That's right.
Okay. And I'll get this posted real quick.
Thank Isabel.
I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel, again. Thank you, Peggy, everybody. Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Ron.
Thank you.
Make it a great week. Bye, Dee Dee. Bye, Watson.